You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For JD Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to the Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mix with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and... she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
Today, this breakfast isn't just breakfast. It might be the first McDonald's breakfast you're having at McDonald's again. This lunch might be a weekly tradition you hadn't had in weeks. And this dinner might be the first one you bought for not just you in a while. Whatever this order is for you, McDonald's will be here to take it.
Get more of the chicken you love with a delicious McChicken sandwich for $1. And for an extra buck, add a refreshing Dr. Pepper. Dining rooms are starting to reopen in certain communities at participating McDonald's. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome to another episode of The Cocktail Lounge. I am your hostess with the mostest, Aggie, and with me as always is the ever suave, most quaffable and affable co-host of mine, Brad Slager. How are you doing this evening, Brad?
I'm doing well. I don't know if I got suave covered tonight, but other than that, pretty good.
Why? What's ruffling the suave part?
I've just been running around. Kids were here, had to go in the pool, had to race around and do other things, and then I just got in here in time. In fact, I am currently beerless for the show. I'm going to have to probably leave you for about 15 seconds at some point and go recover mine. Nah, it's just that's the way it is. We've got we have family members absconding and moving to another state, so everybody's coming over and visiting on a daily basis, which is good and bad and all of that. So, it's just perpetual revolving door here.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Yep, I totally get it. Been there, done that. I had many T-shirts and burnt them all because I was done. But at least, you're getting, like you said, getting the whole family togetherness thing well and done, getting your fill of it before that happens. So that's nice.
Yeah, no, it's not bad at all. We're just, my schedule's filled, and half the time I don't even know it. So, by the way, everybody's coming over for dinner.
So it's filled, and you're not involved in the filling of the schedule. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm probably 6 or 7 on the to-do list when it comes to these things. So.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like about 3:00, it was like, everybody's coming over. Can you play football engaged? It was like, can you give me a little more knowledge than that? I haven't even started my column yet, but yeah, okay. It's just that kind of crap. Otherwise, going well.
Yeah, it sounds fun anyway. I kind of, just every so often I do miss the company of people, and then I'm reminded that I have a lot of people coming for the eclipse, and about half of them are, well, let's just say they're not low maintenance. So, but still, I mean, it'll be nice to actually hang out with people, and talk to adults, which is something I seldom get to do unless I'm on a podcast or, I'm chatting with people online. So it'll be nice.
No, I mean, you've been filling me in on all that. You're like, oh yeah, everyone's coming over to see the eclipse. So I'm thinking you're going to throw a cooler in the backyard, put out lounge chairs, and look at the sky. But no, you've got...
That's
you're like
part
a
of
cruise
it.
director for this event.
Well, I have to come up with menus that are easy so that I am not stuck in the kitchen forever. I have to come up with some cocktail makings that are relatively easy to make so that people can, do their own thing, and make pitchers full so that people can just serve themselves, that kind of thing. And of course, got to have the requisite Shiner Bock out in a cooler outside. I have
Of
to
course,
have.
of course.
I think about the only expense that I'll probably be making is an ice maker to keep up with, the need for ice in the house. But that's about it. Everything else is pretty much taken care of. I have been turning out one room a day and getting it ready. Everything is set to go. The little guest soaps, everything. Everything.
And this is what cracks me up about you. You're complaining that there's nobody there, and yet your house is always needing of being cleaned. This is the part I don't understand.
I have a dog. She sheds. I have to constantly be vacuuming and dusting. It's just a matter of life.
Gotcha.
But yeah, for the most part, everything's pretty much done. I just, have to wait to go grocery shopping and that kind of thing till the, a couple of days before they get here. And then I actually have a deep freeze as well. So I'll be freezing some stuff pre-made so that I can just get it out. I'm serious. I am not going to be stuck in the kitchen all 3 days. It's not happening. Somebody wanted it to happen, but she's
you're
not
going to
getting
be
her
stuck
way.
in the kitchen. It's just what you do is set everything up buffet style and just like have at it, animals. I'm going to be in the backyard.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. It's all going to be buffet style, and as much as I hate it, it's going to be paper plates and solo cups, and
Why do you hate that? That's like zero maintenance right there.
Because I'm the consummate hostess. I like a pretty set table, but this is not going to be conducive to that. So it's going to have to be paper plates and that kind of thing.
Right. Emily Post, everybody's in the backyard looking at stars. Put the china away.
You're going to kill me, but I bought another china set. Just in case.
Good.
It's actually from the 50s, so I had to have it. It's very pretty. It's very plain.
Because when you're out on the dock, you don't want to have any of the new stuff out, at least.
Anyway, moving on. It has been quite the interesting week as far as
oh, holy hell.
News items.
I mean, yes, it's my job to watch the media and report on the media when they screw up. Our media complex in this country is just melting down. And no hyperbole. I mean, they're losing their ever-loving minds. And, I mean, this weekend, this whole bloodbath thing just amazes me. And again, I say amazed because not I'm shocked, but just that you assholes are still doing this. It's that kind of thing. Trump calls for a bloodbath. It's violent. It's this. It's that.
The whole bloodbath thing has been just.
And the thing is, it's not just like a handful of it's like one asshole reporter did this or some screwball news outlet from Kansas or something. Okay, straighten your. No, this was widespread across the entire industry. And just, it's so easily explained. It is so easily debunked. Well, nobody ever uses that term for economics. And then you crack open the dictionary, and the third entry is, economically, a bloodbath always indicates bad financial time. There you go. It's a dictionary term. That's how commonplace it is. Nobody ever says that.
Oh, I remember when the housing bubble back in 2007 was happening. Bloodbath was everywhere. That term was everywhere. And then the too big to fail deal. Yeah. Bloodbath was a term that was used. We want to avoid a bloodbath. That kind of thing. It's a common term, but they are so intent on pinning violence on Trump that it's beyond ridiculous now.
I had no fewer than 6 of the same outlets bitching and moaning about him promoting violence that 7 days earlier were reporting on people getting fired at the RNC with the term bloodbath.
Bloodbath. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Bloodbath at the RNC. Firings at the RNC are a bloodbath. 1 week ago.
Yeah,
you dipshits.
And it was funny because I'm not sure if y'all follow Oscar von Roenthal on Twitter. He started yesterday, this is what I'm wearing to the bloodbath. This is my outfit for the bloodbath. What's yours? Of course, everybody took off with it. And it was glorious because we had all of these people in Crusader uniforms and knights in shining armor. And, me, I was the laundress. And nobody got that joke. I was like, I can't believe nobody's getting this joke. I actually had to explain it. But then again, I don't expect a lot of people to know that painting, even though it's a very famous painting from the 1700s and by a French painter named Greuze. I can never pronounce it. Greuze is his last name. Jean-Baptiste. And it was actually one of the paintings that we studied the most because he was very sneaky. For the time, he showed her stocking and the way she's looking at the painter with that little smile on her face and the way she's handling the wet clothes. It was very suggestive for the time. So it was a very suggestive painting for, you look at it now and you're like, oh my God, no, that's not suggestive. But, for back then it was. So I used that one, the laundress, because I'll be cleaning up all this shit. Let's face it, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Pretty much, yes. She'll be in the front lines now. She's going to be back there cleaning.
No, I'm going to be like Molly Pitcher back here with a cannon or back here with a wash tub. That's my job. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just, and I think that's an appropriate way to counter all of the left's narratives is by ridiculing them. And that's why it was very effective, And there were several people who commented on several threads about the wearing, this is what I'm wearing to the bloodbath or whatever. And some people, bigger names like Fu got attacked and were asked, it's like, so you don't take this seriously, the way that Trump is instigating violence again. And I'm like, okay, you need a Xanax. You really do, because if you had even 1 ounce of integrity, you would actually listen to the whole clip and understand that the concept in which it was used was very appropriate, But no, they don't want to do that. So the only step that we have left is to ridicule them, and it's very effective.
But this is the thing; it's so damn easily refuted, because it's just, how about this? Don't cut his sentence off. Let him finish his point, and you see it's a completely different thing. But no, it's like, there's going to be a bloodbath in the country, not just the automakers. Clearly he was talking the economy. It's just,
yes.
He didn't say go out and kill people if I don't win. Okay, it was in reference to the economy. He mentioned automakers, said bloodbath, said the automakers again. Stayed on topic the entire time. But here they are with their selective editing, which I was told by the very same media is the wrong thing to do. How about that?
Yeah.
But this is the same press corps that last week I cobbled together numerous major outlets talking about the pandemic outbreak here in Florida, where I live.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine my surprise.
That you had a pandemic in your state and weren't aware of it?
Yeah. This is like, I was like, I thought I would have picked up on this, but thankfully the newspapers from Washington, D.C., New York City, Los Angeles were talking about how my state is in complete viral meltdown. Our Surgeon General is inept and corrupt and needs to be fired immediately. And it's just, people are just going to be dying in the street. Measles. This is what it was about, measles. Now, I had heard that there was a little bit of an outbreak in my county here in Broward. Yes, one of the schools, they found another measles case over there at Manatee. It's like, oh, man, what the hell's going on there? How are these kids not vaccinated? That's basically what we were all saying. It was like,
yeah.
How do you go to school and you don't have your vax record up to date? That's, somebody's dropping a ball here. No. DeSantis and the Surgeon General are killing people again. You sons of bitches. These were editorials written by doctors. Okay, Leanna Wen in the Washington Post, that fiasco.
Oh, that one.
Medical, yeah, she's been debunked, I think, about 6 times. So, of course, she's
such a quack.
She's a valid source for the Washington Post. The Miami Herald had one written by 3 different doctors. And measles could have lasting effect, and this could years down the road, and all of this nonsense. I'm like, you guys got any statistics as far as what's happening? Because I was under the impression this thing was killed off last month, and here, literally, this was editorial was written last Wednesday or Thursday, I think it was. Mm-hmm. We haven't had a new case of measles in 3 or 4 weeks. 9 cases total. There's your pandemic. There's your outbreak. Okay. 9.
Which is
the last case was like February 27, I think. And here they are 4 weeks later. People are going to die in the streets. Bring out your dead. DeSantis is killing people.
And see, and I'm sure you remember when we had the tuberculosis outbreak. And people were trying to figure out, why are we having a tuberculosis outbreak? But the media was not covering, because the outbreaks were in the centers where the undocumented stayed.
In Chicago, they have one holding facility that has over a dozen cases of measles. Somehow that's not making the news.
No. And that's, it's almost like it's okay for the undocumented illegal aliens to actually have these outbreaks and bring all of these diseases, because unlike the U.S., who is rather rigorous about inoculating children, you don't find that in Mexico. That's completely optional. And as a matter of fact, if you're poor, you're SOL. because it does cost money. And no matter what they tell you that it's a socialist country, you still have to pay for it. So, and I've been to Germany, and I remember my girlfriend telling me that, yes, inoculations are free. You just have to wait to get these inoculations. Yeah. And you wait quite a few months. It's not like us where we go in at 3, we have a baby, they get inoculated 2 weeks after, and then 3 months after, and then 6 months after. No, you actually have to wait a lot longer to get your child inoculated. So it's, but it's very disingenuous for the media to say, oh my gosh, there's an outbreak in the entirety of Florida. They're all going to die because DeSantis was so, irresponsible when it's only 9 in one county in 3 schools. I think it was.
One school had 6 cases. I'm sorry, it was one county. And
one county. And
in Broward, where I live, nobody freaked out because measles are a thing and you get them and guess what? You go home until you're done. Not a single person has been hospitalized. Nobody lost their mind. It came out as like, officials are concerned about a measles outbreak in Weston. Well, you guys better get a handle on that. And a couple days later, hey, we got a handle on that. All right, cool. We'll move on now. Here we are 3 weeks later. Washington Post, LA Times, New York Times. Pandemic spreads in Florida.
Well, it's okay to talk about the outbreaks in red states. It's not okay to talk about outbreaks in blue states. And
it wasn't even an outbreak. Gee, 9.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. They made it into an outbreak. But when you do have an outbreak in Chicago, they don't talk about that.
No.
When you have an outbreak in Phoenix, they don't talk about that. When you have an outbreak anywhere in California, they don't talk about that.
And I just, stumbled across this little nugget when I was doing the research. Oh, you get that Washington Post and LA Times research? You look into a story? While I was doing that, this little nugget came across the transom. The illegal immigrants that are coming to the country are not vetted and are not required to be vaccinated. Wonder how this is getting into the country when we haven't really spoken about measles in years. I mean, I think, 6-7 years ago, there was like 130 cases in 1 year, and people were like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So, yes, as well as not vetting, not verifying, and turning people free when they cross into the country, they also don't have to be vaccinated.
They never have. And this is a problem.
That son of a bitch, DeSantis.
Mm-hmm. Remember when Ellis Island was still open and immigrants were coming across? They had to be checked for lice. They had to be checked for any diseases. They had to be quarantined sometimes, depending. We're not doing that. And the thing was, we were doing that. We were doing that last administration. I know we were because, like I said, I have friends that worked at the Donna facility, and they would ask about inoculations and all that stuff and everything. And if they said, no, guess what? We inoculated them. We inoculated almost everybody that was at that Donna facility. And now we're not doing it anymore. We don't even ask. It's okay. Come on in. Bring every disease known to man. That's fine. It's almost as if they're trying to make an outbreak.
Just like your voter ID, it's going to be racist to ask for a vaccination record.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we are anymore.
Well, it was for a time.
We're going to blame the state administrators because you're letting in people who are infected. Make that make sense, because it doesn't, and it never will. That's the amazing
There was a
part.
time when you had to have a vaccination passport, with this COVID thing that happened. And I refused, regardless of my immunization status. I was not going to have a passport. And my sister was like, well, what's wrong with that? I said, I don't want the government getting in my business anymore. You have a regular passport. Yeah, I have a regular passport. They don't have my medical stuff on my passport. They just have my number.
Isn't that amazing, though? During the pandemic, they were like, oh, we're going to mandate everybody get vaccinated. We're going to mandate passports. You got to prove it to go anywhere. But now we can have illegals storming across the border and nobody gives a rat's ass. In 4 years' time, that has happened. Huh? I mean, literally, we couldn't go grocery shopping. You had to walk in a straight line in one direction only down an aisle so you don't catch COVID. That's how restrictive we are. You know, millions can now pour across the border, and I'm sure they're fine. He's good. I mean, and they wonder why there's vaccine hesitancy out there. You deniers, you conspiracy theorists. Yeah, okay. Why don't you go vaccinate 9 million people and then get back to me? Then we'll talk about conspiracies. It's just relying on common sense now is conspirational thinking in this country. That's the part that I just love. Want to vaccinate them? Well, you're racist. I see. Thank you for our TED Talk. Bye. And
yeah, it's I don't know.
It's just I just look him in the eye sometimes and just say, do you realize what you're saying? They had this little gem over the weekend. I love this one. This is how Trump derangement is one thing. Okay, we're used to that. Is it possible for a virus to metastasize? Because what's going on right now is even beyond. I don't like him. I hate it. This is just deranged thinking entirely. Do you know why Donald Trump is a Hitler now? He tells jokes at his speeches.
Yes, because he tells jokes at his speeches. And I'm like, doesn't Biden do the same thing? I mean, at least he attempts. I don't think he delivers very well, but he attempts to make a joke.
Do you know who else told jokes? Hitler. Politico talked to a bevy of historians. Well, there were dispatches from Mussolini where he was joking around with his cohorts. Joseph Stalin was known to tell jokes with his officers and commanders. They used to share levity with each other.
You know who else did it? Dwight D. Eisenhower. Oh my gosh, and don't get me started on the pranks that Lyndon B. Johnson used to do at the White House.
They're legendary. Now we're going to have to consider the Chuckle Hut in Little Rock, Arkansas to be a terror cell. Telling jokes is authoritarian and totalitarian.
Oh my word. It's ridiculous how they're trying to, tell it. The weird thing is, when we were growing up and we were in school, we would read and listen to totalitarian speeches. I mean, that was, something that I happened to have a really cool history teacher who actually exposed us to all that, the translations on some of them and everything. I don't remember a single one where they were cracking a joke.
All right. Between Trump and Biden, okay, I'm sure everybody's got some of these newsreels in their head of a Hitler speech where he's like, Heich, Fein, Mich, Stein, and he's banging his fist on the podium.
The clip from the movie Downfall? Oh, yeah, that's classic.
Oh, there's that too. But, I mean, anytime I see a Hitler clip, sounds pretty damn close to Joe Biden at the State of the Union.
Yes, it does. And I watched that, and I was like, and I watched Downfall. I watched it in German, and I watched it with subtitles just to make sure that I was understanding it as well. It was a fantastic movie. I cannot.
Yes, Aggie, we know you can speak half a dozen languages.
No, but you can find it. You can find it dubbed, and you can find it, subtitled. But it was beautifully done. It was a really good film. Watching Biden, with the red behind him and the way he was speaking, and then at the State of the Union address, the way he was screaming at everybody, I'm like, and they're calling Trump a dictator?
Joe Biden was talking about like the most innocuous things and was raging. I remember when Snickers was 16 ounces of holy shit, dude. Okay, you're like living the Snickers commercial right now. Have a Snickers. Calm your ass down, dude. I mean, That's the part that kills me.
I told you,
Trump's the authoritarian. Okay, got it.
My German friends all ask, why was he screaming? Like, we don't understand. Why is he so angry? And I'm like, I couldn't tell you. And the thing was, it was like some of my German friends don't speak English very well, and some do. And the ones that didn't speak English very well were like, we were very confused. We thought that, but I understand that they were saying they understand the delivery. Well, yeah, because they're German. They all scream all the time. But they weren't understanding why he needed to yell what he was talking about. And I said, and I told him, I can't tell you. We're all at a loss. Everybody is like.
The B12 drip was a little heavy. About it.
It was.
But I just love Politico trying to sell us on the concept of a yuckmeister by the name of Hitler.
But that's just it. I mean,
Trump tells jokes just like Hitler. I mean, yeah, Hitler was just known for that. Do you know what my favorite sex position is? 69.
9. In all of the readings that I've done and everything, I cannot find an instance where Hitler was cracking jokes. Now, admittedly, I have read some that try to humanize him. Some books that did try to humanize Hitler, because we, as a and as a culture, we have dehumanized him completely. Not that he deserves humanization. I'm not trying to defend that, but they were trying to, give the background, how he grew up and where he grew up and what his interests were and all that stuff and everything. Not once did they mention that he had a really great sense of humor or that he made people smile and laugh all the time. None of that. He was very introverted. He, he was very quiet, blah, blah, blah. That kind of stuff, yeah. But nothing about him being a jokester. Nothing about him making people laugh. Nothing like that.
Well, do you know why Hitler was cheating on Eva Braun?
No idea.
She gave him a Heil pass.
Oh, for God's sake.
These are the jokes, folks. Laugh or go to the chamber. Hey, hey, come back next week for the fish. Here at Der Fuhrer's Laugh Factory. Yay. Give me these people, I swear. I really think that they've got some internal polling going on that is disastrous. Because they are literally in desperation mode at this point. Just the way they're reporting, the wave of them reporting all in the same fashion. It's all just to get that headline out there, to get those clicks out there, to just pump this into the system, hoping to change minds. Oh, Trump wants a bloodbath. And that's it. You got to read like 5 paragraphs in before you see, oh, he was talking about the economy is going to be a bloodbath. Okay, nothing to worry about then. I'm going to put my bunker away and lock the door, I guess. They're literally in just freak out mode right now. It's hilarious.
Well, they're not the only ones.
But there's one nugget of detail I saw that concerns you and their panic mode for this election.
It's actually very funny.
Axios is reporting that the Democrats are starting to focus on the Hispanic voter. Hey, look at the clock. It's about freaking time, you damn idiots.
Well, here's the thing. They never used to worry about it. But now they are. They're very worried.
During this tide started to change in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I talked about this a bunch of times, but in 2016, it was like, oh, look at that. Trump did pretty okay with Hispanics. And then each subsequent election, midterms and general, more and more and more Hispanics are voting GOP. In 2020, Dade County, Miami, it was 50-50 Hispanics voting for Trump and Biden. Never have we seen these kind of numbers down here, okay? And
it was the same thing in South Texas, which has been what? Indigo, as far as I'm concerned. It's past blue.
yeah, that's been blue area for quite some time.
And I remember, one of my favorite stats was Starr County, which is the county to the west of the county I lived in, which was Hidalgo. Starr County in 2016, 98% went for Hillary, 2% went for Trump. In 2020, 48% went for Trump and 51% went for Biden. And they had questions about some of the balloting there. They had a lot of questions about balloting there. Hidalgo County, same thing. And Hidalgo County is part of the district that went red for the very first time in 150 years. So you see these trends with Latino voters that are just starting to really, really worry the administration. The thing is, if they are so confident of the Latino vote, why are they doing this outreach now?
Well, that's the thing is, and I think we've even discussed this, they have really taken Latino voting for granted.
Yeah.
Because
that's one of the reasons they want the influx coming in,
But here in Florida, South Florida specifically, I reported on this when 2020 election was going on, that local officials here were in panic mode, Democrat officials. We need help. We have no Spanish outreach. We don't have anybody who can speak Spanish in our Miami and Dade offices. Broward too. We need people to come in. We need some assistance. What can you do? And the Democrats were just like nothing. They were like, thanks.
Yeah, they were like, they're Latinos. Don't worry about it. They're both
and by the time they said, maybe we should get down there, they looked at the polls and it was already a done deal. Like Florida was over, Trump had Florida locked down. DeSantis was winning by 30 points. They were like, oh, yeah, we probably should have. He got the money for that now. That's a losing effort. But here they are 3.5 years into Biden's presidency, and they're just like, you know what? Those Latinos, we should maybe go. It's like, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Hold on. Pardon. The Biden-Harris campaign is launching a push for Latino voters.
Mm-hmm.
Not Latinx?
Not Latinx. Latinos.
What happened there? Because this used to be the way of speaking when they took office.
Yeah, and even in Spanish, it's not Latinx. It's Latinos con Biden-Harris.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, so you've basically thrown away the X. You're just giving up right now because you know that that's toxic. The X is toxic, but not in the word toxic, in the word Latinx.
Yeah.
So,
what changed, I wonder? How about the fact that nobody that considers themselves Hispanic wants to use that term?
No.
And they only just now are getting around to like, maybe we should change that. Yeah, because, and I don't have to tell you this, Aggie, my little breakfast taco, they don't really know how to address Hispanic people.
No, I'm a unique taco. She said Padway.
Kill me.
She said Padway. I'm like, woman, just don't. And this is a problem that the left has, and to a certain degree, the right has the same problem too. The pandering, when you're trying to do it to a specific minority group, the pandering, talking down to their level, that is so patronizing, and everybody recognizes it. They don't want you talking to them at that level. What they want is you talking to them at your level, because then what you're saying is, we're smart enough to understand you at your level.
And let me just tell you, Spanglish people, what it's all about here, because I've been to the bodegas and I know how it goes down there.
It's bodegas, for God's sake.
I swear, Jill Biden thought she had the room in the palm of her hand, And when you go to the Bogotas and you just, I look at this room of breakfast tacos in front of me and just, si se puede. Oh, I'm one of you. See?
See?
Oh, God. People are so inept. How did they win the last election? Oops, don't open up that can of worms.
And it's not like, Biden is a stranger to those things. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. I mean, things like that. Look at Hillary and her, ain't no ways tired crap. I'm like,
excuse me, it's pronounced tard when you're south of the border.
It drives me crazy. And I think I have tried to explain this to people. If you try to talk to people the way you think stereotypically they speak, they will lose all complete respect for you. It's just like when you're talking to a 5-year-old. If you talk to them and, what does the little girl want? Blah, blah, blah. They're going to hate you. I've never actually spoken to a child in that manner. I actually speak to them as if they were an adult. And they think, that's just great. Because you're treating them as an adult. You're treating them as an equal. And this is what I tell people when you are trying to speak to my Latino brethren, you should speak the way you normally speak to anybody outside of any minority,
I remember when we had that Democrat genius in Florida, Nikki Fried.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking to a Spanish news station down here, and they said, so how do you expect to communicate with these Spanish-speaking voters out there? I'm going to speak slowly.
Yeah. And loudly.
Wow.
It never ceases to amaze me how often, especially on the left, sometimes, like I said, sometimes on the right, it happens, but especially on the left. And I remember, meeting Scott Walton at CPAC the last time that I went. It was really interesting because I came up to him. I was with our friend Jen, and I was like in awe because there was a former governor that I'm actually a big fan of, and I'm going to talk to him and everything. And I introduced myself, and he completely devoted his time to me. And not once did he address me as an Hispanic person. Not once. He didn't even address me as a woman. I don't think.
Well, that's just sexist.
I was on par with him. And this is what makes a good speaker. You are telling the group that you're speaking to that they are on par with you. That's why you don't talk in their, whatever stereotypical manner you think they may talk in, whatever Ebonics or, Spanglish or Chicano or whatever the hell you think they talk. You don't talk that way to them. If you're in the South, they don't want to hear you speaking with a Southern accent unless you have one, and come by it honestly. I cannot tell you how embarrassing it is when somebody tries to speak with a Southern accent because they want to, connect with the people whose vote they're trying to get. And I'm like, no, you're being ridiculed behind your back or in front of it, as the case was when I was witnessing it. And it was the most ridiculous show. And nobody ended up liking this person. And believe it or not, it wasn't even a liberal. I believe it was a conservative who was trying to do that. And I was like, dude, that doesn't work. You're not from the South. But, they will always attempt doing that because they think that connects them to people. No, it doesn't. What connects them to you is speaking to them at your level. Because what you're telling them then is that they are smart enough to understand you at your level. They're smart enough to understand what you're saying. And I cannot stress the importance of that.
I've actually seen the opposite take place because Jeb Bush used to,
when
he would go on campaigns and stuff, he would speak, he would give his speech in Spanish as well as English.
Uh-huh.
And he would get sometimes criticize, oh, he's pandering to them. It's like, no, the guy is actually fluent in Spanish, so he could do that.
And
by the way, his
all
wife,
the Bush kids were
Spanish. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
former President Bush, same thing. He knows Spanish. And it would surprise the hell out of everybody here in Texas after he left public office and he's working out there in Crawford and whatnot. He would go into town and all that stuff. And he would talk to people in Spanish. I mean, if he felt that they could not communicate well in English, he'd slip to Spanish. We didn't know that you spoke Spanish. Yeah, I live in Texas.
Yeah. Kind of helpful in that state, isn't it?
It always cracks me up every time I would hear an anecdote from Waco, over in Killeen, somewhere about them running into him and him speaking Spanish. Like nobody knew. Well, he didn't advertise that he spoke Spanish, but he does. He's very fluent in it. And so is Jeb. Jeb is very fluent in Spanish. And
his father really didn't do it all that often. I mean, I only know about Jeb because here in Florida, he would do that. Like sometimes he would give when he was governor, he would give a press conference or something, and I'd be flipping the channels, and then you come across the Spanish station, and there he is giving the same speech, but he's talking in Spanish. Oh, hell, look at that guy go. How about that?
When late President Bush gave the commencement speech when I graduated from college back in '89, and the local outlet managed to snag a couple of minutes, interview or whatever. And as he was leaving, he said adios to everybody, and nobody thought anything of it. And then a few years later, after his library opened at Texas A&M, there was a big to-do, everything. He would come down periodically for events at the library. And one of them was during Hispanic Heritage Month. And so his entire speech he delivered in Spanish. It blew everybody away. They were like, we didn't know you spoke Spanish. I said, well, I live in Texas. So, and he had an accent and everything, but it was Spanish and he did not trip or anything. It was really cool, And so,
well, you see, last night I tried out that Hooked on Phonicus.
Yeah, and to me, that's not pandering. To me, it's like, hey, it's Hispanic Heritage Month. We are here to recognize certain things, and I'm going to be speaking in Spanish because I enjoy the language. And he did. Univision was there, Telemundo was there, a couple of other Spanish things, and people were going crazy. And they just thought that it was great, and blah, blah, blah. And it's not like he was running for anything. And it wasn't like he was trying to get votes for anything. He was literally trying to recognize major contributors to America that were Hispanic, And so it was really cool to watch that. It was really neat. But, it's not like they went through and advertised that they knew a separate language. To them, it was just like, well, it's a necessity, and they used it whenever they had to. And that was fine. But yeah, when they accused Jeb of pandering, I was like, dude speaks Spanish half the time. He's not pandering to anybody. He literally speaks Spanish all the time whenever he can. But yeah. I mean, here comes Hillary with her no ways tard or whatever it was. I can't even pronounce the way she pronounced it because it's impossible for me. But that kind of pandering just drives me up the wall. Like I said, don't speak to them on their level. You speak to them on your level because you expect them to be smart. That's what a good speaker does. They just give you that gift, that they recognize that you are smart, that you can be on the same level because you are the people that they represent.
Well, I know somebody that could have used their linguistic skills. That would be the Los Angeles Dodgers. Maybe not their schooling, but maybe speak to somebody with a little bit of street vernacular going on. So I guess in California, the minor league baseball teams in Southern California put on I don't know if it's a mid-season, preseason, something they call Copa de la Diversión, the Fun Cup. Okay. Seems like a rough translation there, but I'll go with it. And basically what this is they're reaching out to the Hispanic community. So all of the local teams, they actually changed their mascot name. They changed their uniforms. Basically it's all a Hispanic heritage celebration for baseball. One of the local minor league teams is called the Quad City Quakes. Sorry, Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. Quad City's the Ducks. But they were going to go, I think, a year or so ago with the Temblores, which I guess is the Spanish version of Quakes. Tremblers, so to speak. This year, though, they went with a different one. Mm-hmm. They wanted to call themselves the Mariachis, but the name was taken. But they wanted to stay on theme, so they decided to go with Rancho Cucamonga Chaquetas.
Which
pretty much a direct translation is jackets, meaning they were referencing those very well-adorned jackets that they commonly wear in the mariachi band.
Yeah, the mariachis wear, it's literally called a chaqueta. But chaqueta is also a general term for any kind of jacket.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it's more almost like a formal representation of it, I guess you could say.
I would have gone with a hat, but okay.
Los sombreros. They're probably going to do that next year for this reason. Because when the team decided on Chaquetas, they kind of went around and said, "Hey, what do you guys think about this?" They reach out to some mariachi groups and said, "Oh, that's fantastic." I'm translating, of course. Yeah, go for it. That's a great name. Go. And everybody was on board. So they went ahead. Uniforms were printed up, hats, everything else. And then people on social media started to notify the team. It's like, yeah, hey, by the way, the word chaquetas is also Spanish slang for masturbation.
Yeah. And I tried to making it where that came from, but the only thing is jacking off. I think that's where the connection came from, because the actual term in Spanish has absolutely nothing to do with the word chaqueta or jacket or anything like that. So, admittedly, it's kind of localized in Mexico. I've never, in Puerto Rico, we don't use that term. We have a totally different term, as I recall.
Well,
not that I'm going to repeat it, so don't even ask me.
But Puerto Rico also doesn't have mariachis, so that wouldn't apply.
True. Yes and no. Actually, we do have several mariachi-like type of things. They're called, you're gonna die, tunas. Like tuna, like the fish. Okay. But
not like tuning an instrument.
I have no idea.
Well, I will say I'm shocked to hear this, and I'm a little disgusted because that's appropriating Mexican culture.
Well, no, not really, actually. If I recall correctly, the mariachis actually appropriated that style also from Spain with the addition of the sport and all that stuff. It was just conglomerated into the whole band. But whatever. It's all Spanish.
Wow.
It's all Spanish. Whatever.
And next she's going to say those people, and I apologize ahead of time. I don't know. I'm a huge Herb Alpert fan, I just got to say.
Well, I am too. I have all his records, so.
Love his stuff. But yeah, that was a little bit of amusement right there. But I've also got another story for you. Somebody who's gifted with the tongue, as you are, the linguist that you are. What? Did I say something wrong?
No.
Did that not translate well? Turns out that a language expert has come forward to declare English isn't a real language.
Yeah. This guy is really trying hard, because the thing is, he answers his own query historically and it doesn't even hit him, or, he insists. I mean, it's a French linguist, and he insists that English does not exist. Okay. And it's just badly pronounced French.
He calls it bad French.
Yes. And he says that the English uses thousands of words taken from the French about 1,000 years ago. Now, what happened 1,000 years ago, people? Come on. I know there's a lot of historical people in the chat. What happened approximately 1,000 years ago in English?
There was a big flood.
No, it was not the flood.
Not Noah's Ark? Okay.
No. The Battle of Hastings, 1066, William the Conqueror, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So, yeah. Here come the Normans. They storm Great Britain. They kill King Harold II. And he becomes, Emperor of England. Charlemagne becomes William the Conqueror in England, blah, 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 blah. And it was a running joke with my one of my classical literature professors. He comes in and they speak French. One of the things that he promised all of his men was that he was going to marry them to women of high nobility. Well, the women are the ones in charge of teaching the children. They're not going to teach them French. They taught them English. Okay, This is one of the reasons why we don't speak English in Great Britain. French in Great Britain. We speak English. And the French have always hated that. To this day, they hate that. They still do. Why? Jeez. How do I know they hate it? Because they have a fucking ministry of language, okay, to keep French pure. And this guy is part of that ministry. And he is just so upset and tries to negate the fact that English is actually a language. Now, yes, it's true. We do in English have several words that were derived from the French, but it's not the only place we stole words from. Come on. English has stolen words from almost everybody. Seriously, like in the back of some alley, they just rifle through any other language's coat pockets for spare words.
Exactly. We're not racist. We'll steal from anyone.
Everybody. Exactly. And so his contention that it's just badly pronounced French, it's almost like he is willing that English is as a language does not exist, and that it sprouted from French. That is, I went and I read some of his theories and all that stuff before the show, and I'm like, he honestly does not want English to exist. He wants it to be a poor, like French that did not develop correctly. Okay, that's his theory. Really? And I'm like, but English is not even a romantic language. And I'm like, there goes your theory. If it were a romantic language, then he would have a bit of a basis for his theory. But English did not develop from a romance language. And this guy, it's like he's Don Quixote with the windmills, to use a Spanish metaphor.
Jeez.
He is really invested in this, and he is one of those people that likes to keep the French language pure. As a matter of fact, some of the words.
Okay, but if he wants to keep it pure, why would he want a bunch of people like us who bastardize everything to start corrupting it first? He should just leave us alone so we can do our thing.
There's a reason for that, and I think I figured it out. The reason is due to the fact that you cannot filter appropriation of words into the French language coming from English, because English is their business language, and because of the European Union. So they wanted it to be French, but all the other countries gave them the side eye and said, we don't speak French, we speak English. Germany, English and German. Poland, Polish and English. You go to Czechoslovakia, Czech and English. You go to Italy, Italian, Spanish, some French, and English. Everybody spoke English except for the French.
Same too with international airlines. They all have to speak the uniform language of English.
Yes, they do. And English is the main language right now of commerce. And for him, it's almost as if he is trying to find a way to accept the fact that these things are going to seep into the French language, whether he likes it or not. So he's trying to make English be poor French so that the words in English can be accepted into the French language. That's the only thing I can make sense of when it comes to this linguist, because
but this is like somebody putting up privacy walls in a neighborhood nobody wants to go into. Calm your nerves, chill your nuts, everything else. Nobody wants to corrupt your French language.
Kind of like the brick wall up in heaven. Oh yeah, the Catholics, they think they're the only ones here. I like that.
Well, it's like that line from Dennis Miller, too, where he's like, the French got to be pissed off when they come over here and see a croissant sandwich, which is basically a croissant where we jammed a hamburger in the center of it.
Yeah. And
that's what we do.
You know, you go to France and they don't say email. They can't say email. In official correspondence, you must write out communiqué électronique. Okay? That's a lot of letters. Okay? And the worst part is the term computer. They had a very long term for computer. And the ministry was insisting that everybody had to use that term. And finally, they just gave up and now use computer because it's easier and it's simpler. And it's similar to other languages that use the same kind of terminology, like in Spanish is computadora, you know, and so they can let that one slide. Very, very few English words actually get permission from the Ministry of Language to be accepted into the French language as they are. They must be Frenchified, I guess.
Yeah.
And so this
hard
guy
to believe this is coming from the language that can have a word with 17 letters but one syllable.
Yeah, and it is just it for me. For him to say that English does not exist is just poorly pronounced French. I'm like, you're grasping at straws, dude, because English as a language was established before Charlemagne went to the shores. Okay, it's just and hey, they had the opportunity to use some of your words. Okay. Guess what? You have the same opportunity, but you guys are so fucking stubborn about your fucking language that you don't take advantage of it. And now you want to blame some other culture for stealing your words so that you're making them poor French instead of actual English. I mean, it's just beyond ridiculous.
Well, I will say this. He might have a little bit of a point
on his
because, well, I'm just going to come out and say it because he sounds like a douche.
Oh, yes.
That's a French word.
Yes, it is. It actually means shower, like in bathing, which they didn't do as often as the English did.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
That's the thing. those classy French and their questionable bathroom habits. Yeah, I'm going to be real worried about their opinion.
It's the most ridiculous. I mean, I think he's trying to be relevant in the ministry, trying to be relevant in France, trying to make waves or something. But, to give him credit, this theory is pretty new. Nobody else has actually talked about something like this, it being poor French and everything. So he will get noticed. He'll do the rounds. He'll get money for his book, blah, blah, blah. Great. End of discussion. What will trip him up and what trips everybody up is the fact that English is not a Romance language. You cannot say it's just poor French when English as a language existed before William started his little, hey, Pope, can you help me out here? Shit. So, yeah, I have issues with William, okay? Or Charlemagne, whatever the hell you want to call it. I have big issues with him being Catholic. So, anyway, as far as I'm concerned, this guy is just like throwing shit and seeing what sticks. And that's pretty much it.
Well, I'm probably going to shame this individual by bringing into our discussion some of the high culture that exists in America. I mean, we love our museums here, right? That's where you go and edify yourself, build your character, build your inner spiritualness, tap into basically nature and everything else, right? You go to a museum just to glorify the arts and glorify yourself. Well, the City Museum in St. Louis has just made a major accomplishment. On March 14 for Pi Day, set a Guinness World's Record for the most people in one gathering wearing underwear on their head.
I'm sorry. Why?
Well, given that it was Pi Day, March 14, they wanted 314 people to put underwear on. They actually shattered the Guinness Book of World Records and managed to hit 355 people with underwear on their head.
Did it matter what kind of underwear?
The museum did provide white briefs for the attempt if you did not show up with your own.
Okay. Because all I can think of is Weird Science and the bras on their heads. That to me is underwear.
I also think they probably did it to avoid people saying, oh, damn it, that's right, and started taking their pants off right there in the lobby. It's like, we got kids here, so we'll provide you with some Fruit of the Loom. There you go. Yeah, that's, I even asked a friend of the network, Vanessa, Nessican, she was on, because she lives in St. Louis, and I was like, wow, this is pretty big bragging rights for you guys, huh? And you gonna be there for this? And she's like, I have to work. I said, well, can't you just wear underwear on your head in the office in spirit? She said you had to be there and live, I guess. And I was like, damn, I was really pushing to get her to wear underwear on her head at the office that day, but no, she wouldn't bite, damn it. But so yeah, that's the kind of high culture we do here in the States.
Well, hey, whatever works, right?
I mean, it's pretty appropriate, too, that you set a Guinness World Record right before St. Patrick's Day. So.
Which was a glorious day. I got to say, St. Patrick's Day was a beautiful day. Yes, I don't know about you, but I was outside. I was enjoying, doing a little bit of gardening. I sat outside and I enjoyed the view of the lake, and 2 wood ducks came for a landing and they frolicked in the lake, and it was really nice. It was a great day. Some people didn't think it was a great day, but I did.
Who did not?
Well, you know how it is. with climate alarmism. First, you have The Guardian, which I don't care what Stanley Tucci says, it is not balanced. It is way left, and everybody knows it. Yeah. But they actually had on their site a questionnaire asking if the climate crisis had affected your relationships. The reason that they had that questionnaire was there was a survey done by the British Association for Counseling and Psychotherapy. They found that almost 75%, almost 3/4 of 16 to 24-year-olds felt the climate crisis was having a negative effect on their mental health. And that's compared to about 60% of the people in the UK. Now, that is alarming to me because there's no reason for it. There's absolutely no reason for anybody to have anxiety over climate crisis. They can just step outside and look at the weather. That's all you got to do. And, that to me just showed me how malleable that age group has become to the narrative of climate change that is pushed constantly by the media and by governments everywhere. And so, right on the heels of that, there's this blog over in Seattle that, I mean, seriously, this was what was written. This was the title. This unusually warm weekend was a nightmare. That's the title of the post, okay, of that column, and the subtitle was, "We should be horrified by this weather, not enjoying it." Apparently, this past weekend in Seattle was completely different than the cold, usually 40s degree, very overcast, rainy St. Patrick's Day that they usually have. It was actually a beautiful day. It was clear. It was warm. People were milling about in droves, enjoying the sunshine, eating ice cream, having a great time. And this man feels that these people are just not getting it. They're just not getting it. They think they don't understand that we only have like 2 or 3 years left. We should be horrified by this warmth. And I'm like, what? I cannot. And here's his reasoning for it. Okay. This comes from one of the channels there. Saturday brought record-breaking heat across Western Washington just days before the official start of spring. According to the National Weather Service, Washington broke daily temperature records at all of its climate sites on March 15th. SeaTac recorded 74 degrees, breaking the previous daily record of 72. Okay? Meanwhile, the city of Seattle clocked 71 degrees, which passes the previous daily record of 70. And I'm like, and he is going, this place broke records, this place broke records, every place broke records. And, Sunday didn't close without breaking a lot of records. And I'm like, why do you think that this is a bad thing? And the people can never answer that. They never can answer why it's a bad thing, that it's a warm day outside.
Well,
he doesn't speak.
He
doesn't talk about the coldest days that we suffered this past winter. Several places broke records for that, but he doesn't speak about that. He only speaks about the warm days.
Well, that's the thing. It's the usual argument too, where you stump them. Well, what's the temperature supposed to be?
Yeah. They can't ever answer.
Oh, but it should be a range between 40 and 55. Oh, right. So you could peg it down to a 15 to 20 degree variance. And if it's 21 degree variance, then it's a problem. That's the bullshit to it all.
It was just incredible. It's, to me, egregious that we have conditioned the current and the previous generations to be so involved in the climate crisis that they suffer mentally for it. That they do believe that this is a crisis. And I'm like, we've had the little ice age. We've had periods where the earth is warm. There's a big, big, bright ball in the sky that goes through periods of abnormal solar flares. Nobody's ever accounting for that. Of course, now they're throwing Mars under the bus and saying that Mars has contributed to our climate change. And I'm like, you're actually throwing a planet under the bus over this? Holy shit. It's incredible to me.
My answer anymore to any of this is, you are telling us you can control the weather. That's what you sound like. And I just move on from there because I'm just done with it, because you're not allowed to come up with your own scientific data. You can't have conflicting data because then you're a denier. I'm using science. I mean, Al Gore told us 20 years ago that Antarctica would be about 1/3 of its size today, and the ice extent has been at record levels. What does this tell you? I'm looking, at NASA data. You're just a denier. Okay, thank you. Moving on. Only you can use scientific data, but not me. Then you don't need me for this conversation. Thank you. The part I love, though, is when I'm seeing in the press, the same press that for 30 years now has been harping on this very topic without it happening. Oh, our children today are growing anxious about climate change. Why do you suppose that is? The Washington Post a month or so ago had an article where it said, are you suffering from climate anxiety? Maybe taking psilocybin mushrooms would be the solution. So you are the one driving people into a panic, and now you want them to start taking drugs to alleviate the panic that you created, and you want them to take the drugs on your advice. I have a few problems with this flow chart.
Just a wee bit. Just a wee bit.
I almost feel guilty at times for being happy.
I do not.
I said almost.
Almost.
What did they? What was that other study that just came out that people that declare themselves to be woke are generally miserable and anxiety-ridden?
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
Oh no, not. I am shocked. Shocked, I tell you.
So you mean to tell me that people that are pissy and miserable about every single social iniquity that they created themselves are not happy? How about that? What do you know? Literally, these are people that look for problems. I mean, they just absolutely...
Well, they don't only look for problems because they hope that problem will explain their unhappiness. They also need for everyone else to be at their level of unhappiness in order to feel good about it.
Yeah, it's basically emotional socialism. They want everybody to be on the same miserable plane. You with your happy privilege, that's not fair.
You know, and I vote that we keep that screenshot that Danielle just posted of the woke people most likely to be unhappy, anxious, and depressed, new study suggests. And every time some woke person replies to one of our comments, we just post that in response. I cannot engage with woke people because they're so invested in what they believe to be true. They need it to be true. And for them, it's a need because otherwise they would have to accept responsibility for themselves. They can't do that.
Well, this is the reason where they concoct all the new terms that never existed before. Because when you start applying logic to their claims and everything else, they're bereft. They have nothing to go on. So they have to invent their own language in order to invent the crisis and their anxiety and then justify being miserable about something. So you can do absolutely nothing at all of a violent nature. And especially, we see this with the trans community. Where, you can just simply say, well, they're okay. They may say they're a man, but they're still a woman. You're going to kill them. It's like, because I'm adhering to biology, it doesn't work that way. They were born that way. That's not me. That's nature. That's biology. So they want it to be a threat. They want you to feel guilty because they are somehow imperiled by facts and the truth. Then they come up with stochastic terrorism. Because I rely on facts, that's terrorism? Okay. God, that makes you happy. Oh, wait, it's not going to make you happy because you're incapable of that. I mean, we just saw this on display with that whole story with the teenager in Oklahoma, Nex Benedict.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. I mean, I'm trying to tread carefully because I don't want to politicize this. But when that story first broke, I looked at it and I was like, you know what? There's more to this. There's got to be something else going on here.
It's too late. It has been completely politicized. There's no
but I mean, the press just ran. This was, they killed him, they attacked him, this was hate crime, this was this. I'm like, no. The facts say otherwise. And it was just amazing to watch because as each piece of new information came in, every single one of those defied the narrative that they were screaming about. And they kept moving the goalposts and they kept changing but then it was still this. And the desperation in it all was fascinating to watch. Because literally the story went from teenagers ganged up on a trans kid and beat them till they were unconscious and later died in the hospital, all because of the trans hate from libs of TikTok and politicians. Well, they were never beaten unconscious. Okay, but they were still attacked. Yeah, but they were picking on their friends because of the way they laughed, not because they were trans. Oh, by the way, they're non-binary. Okay, but still, that was intolerance. No, it wasn't actually, because she or he, however you identify them, the family called him she, attacked the other kids first. Yeah, but that was after long-term harassment. Well, no, she told the police officer she never saw those kids before. It was like literally every step of the way. And now it's, of course, become a suicide. And they're saying, well, the harassment caused her to commit suicide. She was in pretty good spirits in the police video, but I'm all right. We'll let you have that, I guess, so we can move on. And these are journalists, supposedly. These are people that report on facts in the news. Every new piece of information, they would just change. Well, the authorities are hiding things. Well, the school officials don't want the truth to get out. Well, the medical examiner is faking his report. For what? I mean, that's the one thing they could not give you. Why do they want to obscure the death of a 16-year-old in a high school in Oklahoma? What motivation is there? To hide the trans hate. I don't think a medical examiner is going to put his career at risk and falsify a report on behalf of who? The whole thing was a conspiracy theory, but they needed it so badly. They wanted this to be a trans George Floyd moment so desperately. It was so evident. And it's just unreal where we're at anymore, that they have to have these events. Like, but isn't it good news that they were not attacked for being this way? Isn't that positive? Isn't that something to...
No, they need her to be attacked for being, trans.
It's like, it turns out it wasn't a hate crime. That's something to celebrate, right? No, you would say that, you transphobe. They weren't trans. You're a non-binary phobe, I guess. That's the way that works, right? According to your rules. This is what just trips them up. Again, common sense and facts. The worst thing in the world for them.
They're allergic. They're allergic.
Well, I wouldn't say allergic. It's more resistant.
Okay. True.
Because somehow it doesn't dissuade them. That's the amazing thing.
No, it doesn't stop them from, no, not
It's
at
like,
all.
well, here's some facts. Okay, but. All right, but here's some more facts. Okay, but. Well, all right, I got some more facts for you. No, it's still a thing.
I'm just going to have to block you because you're not listening to me. Okay?
Well, no, it wasn't even blocking. It was like Judd Legum was like one of the bigger voices behind this. It was just like,
legume.
Dude, you're the one. His bio says something like, his job is to hold the press accountable.
Uh-huh.
Like, hey, Judd, you got a mirror? I mean, geez. It's like, look, I get it that you want this, but are you going to admit you were wrong at any point or correct the record or come back with actual facts? You're not, huh? Okay. Just checking. Just wanted to see. I mean, this is what I don't understand is how they don't get laughed out. But now once I see the entire news community acting in unison, it's apparent why there's no accountability because they don't give a shit at all anymore, which I love.
Did they ever? Was there really a time? I can't recall.
I want to say yes, but I just wonder if maybe we were just naive back then.
Well, I'm still naive, but it's
no, I don't. I'm not that cynical about it. It's more. I definitely think it's getting worse.
Mm.
I mean, I've been watching this for years, and I've been doing my column now for almost 3 years. From the time I started to now, yeah, I'm watching it go down. It's just that evident. And you would think at some point in time it would occur to them to want to fix this. That's the part I just can't wrap my head around. It's like you recognize there's a problem. You see people laid off constantly. You see outlets closing down on the regular. Don't you want to address the problem? No. They're just getting worse. They're just hitting the throttle on the bad stuff anymore. Okay. Well, you guys want this.
That's right. And speaking of laid off, how did you like them lemons?
Good segue.
Thank you. I try.
For starters, I am borderline shocked that Don Lemon put his interview with Elon Musk up on YouTube. Because he looks like a complete and utter ass. I was going to say fool, but he always has been that. And just in case anybody doesn't know, Don Lemon was supposed to have his own show on X. His first episode was the interview with Elon Musk. Shortly after their interview, Elon came out and said, well, that's it. This asshole's fired. He's not doing the show on my platform. So Lemon puts the interview up yesterday, I think. Yeah. I'm watching this. There's a definable moment where you can see in Elon Musk's face when Don Lemon is fired. I mean, it's like his show didn't even last an episode. No, it didn't last half an episode because about the 30-minute mark or so, he starts talking to Musk about, well, first he started with white supremacy and
it was not an interview. It was a hatchet job. That's what Don Lemon was trying to do.
Which says so much about Don Lemon, because this is the guy that gave him the job. Let me have an aggressive, pissed off interview with him. That's my first show. And he's getting in the great replacement theory and trying to accuse Elon of pushing conspiracies that lead to violence. He's like, no, I didn't push anything. Other people put this stuff on there. We don't take it down unless it's illegal. What about a hate crime? What about this? Not illegal. Okay, but you take down child pornography. And he looks at him at that point, looks at Don Lemon like, how fucking stupid are you? Yeah, child pornography is illegal.
Illegal.
And then he's like, yeah, but what about this? And you need to moderate. And he's like, you want censorship. And that's what Elon just said to him flatly. He's like, no, I just want moderation. He's like, no, you want censorship. You could taste it. He said that to Don Lemon. And there's literally like a demarcation point where you could see Elon Musk get fed up and say, this is just, no, horseshit. And it's like Don Lemon is oblivious that this is happening. He's not even listening to the answers Elon is giving him. Because he's making sense and he's saying, well, here, this is why this happens. Yeah, but blah, 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 blah. Hold it, Don, pump the brakes and listen to what he just said. He's refuting you. And by the end of it all, it was like, wow, no wonder he got fired. So, yeah, Don Lemon's career lasts one episode.
Yeah. And if you guys are curious, he actually pinned that on his X profile. So I thought that was like, man, you got some balls to actually pin your destruction for everyone to enjoy.
But I don't think it's balls. I really think it's obliviousness.
Yeah, it's more that.
Like he is just so divorced from just common ground and common sense and anything else. Like he goes in, he knows how everything is. And you give him information that doesn't fit into his channel that's already been established, it's not going to enter. There's no room for it because he's rigidly fixed on that. This is the way it is. Well, here's some new information you don't know about. Yeah, but that doesn't count. And he looked literally stupid. I don't mind saying it. Like he's just so emotionally driven on a topic. He can't engage in it mentally. That's literally what he is.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the fact that he's putting it up for the public to see and post it on his account, like he's proud of this. It's like, Don, oh, no, dude, you don't want this in public at all. You should have erased that tape.
He honestly thinks that he got the best of Elon Musk. He does not see that what he did was detrimental to reestablishing a career, basically. And, Musk is like, yeah, I'm sorry. No, you're fired. You can still post your stuff on X just like everybody else, but I'm not hiring you. Until that's what Lemon is doing. And I'm like, I don't even understand why you would even think that you could get away with what you're trying to do as an employee of Elon Musk.
Well, that's the thing is like Elon is basically saying, this is my platform and we are free speech absolutists. I'm not going to take stuff down. Yeah, but you have to, and you need to monitor. He's telling his boss he's running the company incorrectly. Like, imagine somebody coming into a business on a job interview and saying that. You people are doing this all wrong. Thanks, we'll call later. Meaning we're not going to call. It's just staggering. And did you see the list of demands that came out that Don Lemon?
I did. And apparently Daily Mail got their hands on the list from somebody and they printed it on their site. And I'm just like, like X-Brad says on chat, if the rumors are true, I mean, it was beyond extravagant. I cannot tell you how extravagant this thing is. Even I, with my penchant for shoes, could not think of stuff this extravagant. I just couldn't. He
wanted millions of dollars. He wanted a trip to Vegas. I don't know if there was like some kind of entertainment conference or something, but he wanted to full ride vacation to Vegas, 5-star hotel for him and his husband or boyfriend, whatever he is. Everything comped, all of that. He wanted a free Tesla Cybertruck. This is a guy that hadn't produced anything yet.
Yeah,
And the last thing he did produce was that train wreck of a morning show on CNN.
I think the weirdest one for me of his demands, if the demands are true, he wanted control on every creator that was coming onto the platform at X. Every creator. That alone is the biggest red flag ever. Fuck, I'm pretty sure Elon would have given him a fucking Cybertruck. Okay? The rest, no. But that one, I bet you that's the one that he was like, okay, no. There's no fucking way. To give one person complete control of every creator that was coming onto the platform, that's beyond ridiculous. Elon doesn't have complete control of everyone that comes onto every content creator. That's why he has a massive amount of people that are constantly monitoring, to make sure that the content being created for X, does not break any rules, or is not illegal, or is, that kind of thing. But a podcast in space, $5 million upfront payment, and then annual marketing commitment from X for in like $10 million or something like that. What? Oh, and then he wanted stock. He wanted stock, not just any stock. He wanted X stock and he wanted Tesla stock. This is the same guy that was disparaging Tesla stock as being worthless when he was at CNN. Okay? You can't have it both ways. So I was just like, beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, and this is somebody who's never delivered the goods. I mean, when he was at CNN in prime time, I think it was 4 million, 5 million annual, I want to say. I'm just guessing now.
It's just, he wanted to be consulted for, marketing decision, news content, platforms, all the changes in policy. No, you're not anybody, okay? You're just like me, somebody who has no job.
This is a guy that made a fraction of the audience of Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson didn't make these demands. It's just, and when he was at CNN, I don't even know if he was in the top 10 of their shows. Probably top 10, but like Chris Cuomo was his lead-in, he would always lose audience afterward.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of Chris Cuomo the other night on News Nation, and I'm like, am I having a seizure, or is he actually making sense about some stuff? I don't know what's going on. So I changed the channel before I thought CERN was messing with me.
Well, no, he's a prime example of being someone that was under the influence of his network. I mean, he was performing that way for CNN. It's obvious. Because this, he prides himself, oh no, I'm independent and I'm a free thinker and I'm a free agent. And well, why weren't you like that at CNN?
What going back to the whole list, I found it interesting that someone posted the list and Elon replied to it going, yeah, his demands were excessive. And I'm going, so you're not denying that it wasn't that it's made up. I see that, he's actually saying the demands were extremely absurd, and that right now they're, the team is trying to do his team, being Lermon's team, trying to do some damage control. But if Elon Musk says that his demands were excessive, then I'm thinking that list is real.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen anything really refuting it outside of his own people going, nuh-uh. I mean, we have a document. It's not anonymous sources.
Yep. Well, on that note, we have gone over schedule, and I'm sure that you have family to contend with. So I guess we better wrap it up.
Yeah, mostly, yeah. Feet are tapping.
So, Brad, give us a big, long spiel about where we can find you.
I am available on a daily basis over at townhall.com with my daily column there called Rift from the Headlines, doing much of what I did tonight, ripping a new asshole into the press. And I do a lot of coverage as well over at Red State on the front page, as I've got my twice weekly podcast there called Liable Sources, where I do even more delving into the media mayhem. And you can hear more of me on this very network. Thursday night, going to be here with Orty Packard. He and I are going to guide you through all the important entertainment information on the culture shift. Alternate Thursdays, I'm here with Paul Young from ScreenRant.com, delving into the dark side of Hollywood and bad movies on disasters in the making, as well as every Tuesday with the ever-effervescent you here on the Cocktail Lounge. And then if you need more of me than that, and let's face it, you do, head over to Twitter, Jitter, whatever it's called these days. I am at Martini Shark. And what about you, Aggie? How can people find more of your magnificence?
Well, you can find me at Aggie Rican and at Aggie the Barkeep. Those are over on X, whatever. You can find me 8:30 p.m. Eastern Tuesday nights doing the Cocktail Lounge with you. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Friday nights doing He Said, She Said with our producer Rick of late. Once a month, last Wednesday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern, the guys get together for Toxic Masculinity. G, Orty, Rick, and Andrew, and myself. I bring the drinks, and we always showcase a Babe of the Month. And once a month, second Monday of every month, Jeff and I do Spirited Books now, where we cover our latest books that we're reading. Only this month, we have to push it because the second Monday is actually on the day of the eclipse, and I'm not going to be around for it, so it's going to be the 15th on tax day. So also at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, otherwise known as Aggie Time. Thanks so much for joining us, you guys. It was a lot of fun tonight.
Go raise a glass and look at the ceiling.